Nikki Haley is officially the last major challenger standing in Donald Trump's way. According to the latest polling, the answer for most U.S. conservatives is they want Trump to have another chance at beating President Joe Biden. This despite Trump's 2020 election loss. Yes, he did lose the election and the 91 felony charges he faces.
It's now one fella and one lady left. May the best one win.
We have to win, and we have to win by a big, resounding number. It's got to be a big, big, beautiful number.
On the eve of New Hampshire's presidential primary, almost every top Republican is lined up behind former President Donald Trump.
It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance.
And so does Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who took to X to suspend his campaign on Sunday.
Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley represents.
But America's favorite TV judge believes Haley is the one to stop the chaos.
We've already seen what these two presidencies look like. It's time for Nikki Haley.
Polls in New Hampshire suggest Trump leads the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations by a lot.
Nikki Haley is doing really well, which is not true. She's doing really poorly. She's losing by a lot.
Haley on the attack is doubling down on Trump's mental fitness.
He claimed that Joe Biden was going to get us into World War II. I'm assuming he meant World War III. He said that he ran against President Obama. He never ran against President Obama.
President Joe Biden already running the ads.
And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won.
Obama he doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, you mean President Biden. So,
don't put our country at risk like this.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
But Trump isn't one to hold back, and he's now adding to a list of racist attacks on Haley.
She says that you're using a nickname based on her given name, Nimrata. You called her Nimbra in a post the other day. Why do you do that?
Well, I do that with a lot of people. And with her, it's just something that came. It's a little bit of a takeoff on her name, her name, wherever she may come from. But it's just
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
It's a little bit of a takeoff. I look at her name. I look at a lot of people. I do a lot of names for people like Pocahontas.
And we will make America great again. Thank you, New Hampshire. Go out and vote. God bless you.
After a rally last night, Trump was back in the courtroom in New York. His ability to testify in a civil defamation case against him is in doubt after a juror became ill. Trump's team requested he be allowed to testify Wednesday, but the judge has not yet decided on whether to allow that. The case is about the damages Trump must pay for statements he made in 2019, denying he sexually assaulted writer E. Jean Carroll.
Many presidents leave, and there are things you can go after. And frankly, to be honest, that's one of the reasons the Supreme Court is looking now at immunity. You have to have a guaranteed immunity for a president. Otherwise, a president's not going to be able to function.
Trump faces 91 felony charges in 4 separate indictments.
USA! USA! USA!
The winner of the Republican nomination will take on President Joe Biden in the general election in November. Let's bring in professor and political analyst Henry Giroux into the conversation. Henry, starting off with Ron DeSantis, why do you believe he decided to leave the race this soon?
Well, he decided to leave because it was clear that he didn't have a possibility of catching up to Trump. And as a matter of fact, his campaign almost from day one with his interview with Elon Musk has been nothing but a colossal failure. He also ran on a ticket that was cruel and it seemed to me spiteful. He tried to outdo Trump by being more cruel than Trump was, and it simply didn't work. And he never really, I mean, who wants somebody who won't criticize Trump? You'd rather have Trump, right? I mean, he was a cheap imitation in the long run.
But the question remains, with DeSantis now out, does Nikki Haley have an easier path against Donald Trump?
Well, there'll be some resources that'll certainly move to Nikki Haley, but Nikki Haley doesn't have a chance in the world to win the election here. Trump it's in the bag, and the only thing Haley can do is claim that slavery never existed, refuse to basically criticize Trump, in any fundamental way, and not address the fact that 70% of Trump's supporters, the Republican Party, are election deniers. And she's just a kind of soft imitation of Trump. She doesn't have a chance.
Talking about New Hampshire, where they are rallying right now, if Nikki doesn't win the primary, is that the end for her at that point?
Oh, that's the end. She's done. And even if she wins it, and she won't, and they go on to South Carolina, she'll be trounced. She's trounced. I don't understand why she hasn't dropped out. I think this is just simply wishful thinking politically. I think she's grooming herself maybe for a position in the Trump administration. But other than that, she doesn't have a chance.
And with that, I have one more thought, Henry. How did we get here? How did we get to the point in time where Republicans are in favor of Trump despite the serious charges and allegations against him, from election interference to sexual assault? What is Trump's appeal to the American voters?
I think the appeal operates off a number of conditions. One, it seems to me that a lot of people believe that democracy doesn't work anymore. Secondly, it seems to me there's an enormous amount of money that has pushed Trump, and especially the mainstream media, that has really pushed his election denying, his willingness to basically attack minorities. And I also think that, we fail to realize there's a lot of big money behind Trump. The economy basically has failed in some ways. It hasn't lived up to its promises of social mobility. It hasn't lived up to its promise of basically more equality. People are really angry. And what Trump has done is he's capitalized on that fear, legitimated by an endless sort of echo chamber from Fox News and other right-wing channels that have basically taken over the cultural aura, the cultural messaging, of the United States. I think that what we're seeing here is an educational crisis, not just a political crisis. This crisis is educational. We have not provided the institutions, we have not provided a media that would not treat Trump as a normal candidate. He's not a normal candidate. He's a fascist. He makes the claim he wants to be a dictator. He claims that he's going to operate off a politics of revenge. He's vindictive. He's hiring people to eliminate the guardrails of democracy, and yet people are going to vote for him. It's scandalous. It's scary. And I think in many ways, what we're seeing is a clear path to dictatorship in the United States if he wins.
We'll have to wait and see when voters head to the polls on November 5th. Henry, thank you so much for joining us on Trending Now tonight.
It's my pleasure. It's always good to talk to you and see you.